Vogel. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Motion second to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Vogel. Yes.
It's time to close the regular meeting and open the public meeting on the proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, estimate of cost for the City Hall Community Room project. Jenny, when was the notice published?
March 17th.
Have we had any written comments for or against the proposed project?
No, sir.
At this time, I would like to request a request a report, and that would be Corey. We'll invite you back.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mayor, Council. It's wonderful to be here this evening. Excited to submit to you the owner-contractor agreement to agree to a construction contract with Hinkle Construction to build your new city hall. That contract includes their base bid of $5,740,000, as well as alternate 2 in the amount of $4,500 and alternate 4 in the amount of $8,000, as well as 1 unit price for the removal and replacement of unsuitable soils for $60 a cubic yard if that were to be found. City Hall plans to be begun sort of immediately if the contract is approved and completed on May 10th of 2024. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding the contract or anything associated with the project.
No question for you. I do have what's the difference between adopting plans I get, awarding the contract, and approving the contract? Those are 2 different steps here.
Two different steps, because that's what the law requires.
Okay.
We accept who you're going to choose as the contractor, and then in a separate action, we approve the contract bonds. And often they're separated there by a meeting. But there's absolutely no problem in doing it in the same meeting. But often they're just not ready in time.
Thank you.
Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard for or against the proposed project? I need a motion then to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
Someone.
And a second. A roll call.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Vogel. Yes. Anderson.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes. All right then, moving on to A1, Resolution 2023-36, adopting plans. Need a motion and a second, please.
Move.
Second.
And any discussion? We'll ask for roll call then.
Vogel. Yes. Anderson.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Then moving on to A2, Resolution 2023-37, awarding the contract. Motion and a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
So I do have some comments on that. And arbitrary as it may be, that's why I was asking about the distinction. Just want to say a couple things. So to kind of reiterate some of what we talked about in our work session going into this, but we're well down the path, and though I think the FEH and the process has been good, the timing is not. And so I'm going to vote for this, but the increase that we've had from the original estimates that planned, we're too far down the path to change that, even though it's inching to the increases are inching to the degree that I think things need to be looked at is probably more in the form of other capital improvement plan work that we have coming up. The need is unquestionably there. I mean, we're in a full room now. We've had a number of meetings that don't accommodate, and the meeting size is probably 7 or 8 down the list in terms of priority items for what's needed on the city hall. So it's disappointing, and I don't say disappointing directed at anybody other than the timing and inflation and costs of things that are what they are. But I bring all this up to acknowledge the fact that it is a tough thing when you plan for something, costs are wind up being a little bit more, and that's something that take seriously. Not that anybody up here does not, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. And, I'm glad that we're moving ahead. I'm glad that we're going to have a building that will update us to standards that, quite honestly, we should have had a while back. I think it's a great addition. Aesthetically, I think it's a great fit. Geographically, all the boxes checked. Just wish it cost what we thought it would have cost if we started the process. So.
Let's go ahead and have roll call.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Moving on to A3, Resolution 2023-38, approving the contract. I'll ask for a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, further comment? Ask for roll call.
Walters,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Thank you. Item 5, public comments. This is the time and place for comments for any item other than those that are a public hearing. Have we had anyone, thank you, Corey. Have we had anyone contact us about speaking?
No, sir.
He threw me. Sorry. Okay, moving on to item number 6 then, consent agenda items. I'll ask for a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second. And roll call.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
So we will then move on to item 7, which is business items A, which is the Leonard Senior Living. And we'll have our representatives from Maven Crux give a presentation. Hi, how are you, Ross?
And you.
Set some mood lighting. All right. We've been pretty busy since we were here last. The architectural drawings have developed quite a bit. Just kind of looking around town, one of the themes that we wanted to go for was more of a prairie style architecture and development, or the country club. Currently kind of has that theme, and looking at some of the other buildings around town, it definitely seems like something that's more popular. So just trying to fit in with the aesthetics and the theme that I think we're kind of developing here. We wanted to keep that. So you'll notice a lot of lower roof lines. So this is off of Washington right here. So the entrance comes in. You'll be able to turn into the left, and that's the entrance into the underbuilding parking garage right down here. Then there is a loop. You can't see it, but behind the memory care, that's this wing right here, that single-story wing. You've got it's actually a below grade. It's a ramp that goes down into the loading dock, so we'll be able to hide kind of the trash bins and all the infrastructure that goes down there. So that will be hidden from plain sight. And then you'll have kind of a nice rotunda or portico share that comes out here for the main entrance. I think I can zoom in on that a little bit so you can kind of see on that Commons building, we are going with a 2-story structure, but we are keeping that at a flat roof to help bring that overall height down. So to kind of give you some context as far as what the building looks like, this is coming in that front, or that parking garage. So we do have the underbuilding parking. Down here we do have kind of some resident storage areas for the independent living residents. Sometimes they like to keep holiday decorations and things like that down there, so they're not mudding up their residents with that. And then this is that loading dock that I mentioned, where they have access to that. And this is kind of our central plant kind of maintenance area. So we'll be able to do all the receiving and everything down there. We like that Disney concept where the magic happens behind the scenes, so you're not seeing all that stuff happen. As we move up a level, this works. There we go. We've got, oops.
Ross, can you step back for it, just show them the generator, and that's up to you, just to show
Oh,
that's
yeah.
outside as well.
So the generator is down here as well, right, Brian?
Yeah, on the left, so the
Yeah,
left
on the left.
invitation, yeah, so that'll be down on that grade area, we'll have a retaining wall there, that'll be up, that'll house the generator, the trash cans, and those sorts of things, so that they'll be out of sight from public view as well. That's
Right.
it.
So as you come in the front entrance right here, you've got administration off to the side, and then right here in the center, this kind of to the left. That's really meant to be kind of a conference room or room. So presumably, if there's residents throughout Polk City that wanted access to that or wanted to host an event, a charrette for the city or whatever they wanted to do, that would definitely be available. In addition to that, we do have this kind of bistro coffee shop deal back here. So be a cafe, kind of grab and go kind of deal for breakfast and lunch, and the evening serve is like that. Be a sports bar, grab a drink, grab a glass of wine, what have you. And then over here, we do have a full fitness center right here. So they'll different exercise equipment that's specifically geared towards seniors. And then just below that, we do have our salon and spa. So if you want to get your hair cut, go to the dryer, do all that good stuff. So really neat amenity space for the residents. On the first floor, as we move over to this structure, this is all assisted living here. So we do have, nurses' offices, med rooms, things like that. And then as we migrate to the south, this area down here, this is independent living. And then on the right side of the page, that's our single-story memory care right there. So what's neat about that is it is a secure area to get in there. They do have this nice function space here for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They've got like a prep area, so in the mornings, if they want to make short omelets, things like that, the residents can be a part of that process and see. We do have full visibility through the building. So we've kind of got our two different neighborhoods. This is kind of a fireside lounge right here, so residents can sit, look out at the patio, and our fenced-in landscaped area, things like that. So a lot of good natural light throughout this space. As we move up a level, we do have our dining components up here. We try to break the dining up a little bit so it doesn't feel like a big mess. So if you think like a nicer restaurant where they'll have different, vision walls, or whether it's different, architectural pieces. So you still get some sound that transfers, but it creates a more intimate environment as you're dining there. In addition to that, there is another multi-purpose space up there. During the day, we'll use that for playing cards. There may be a Wii setup in there so they can work on their bowling, all that good stuff. Then it also serves as another multi-purpose space for, community events. If we want to bring in a speaker talking about a book, or say there's a violinist that wants to come in and perform to the residents, that's definitely a space we use. And then on the other side of the page, this is that assisted living that will carry all the way up again, and we have our independent living down here as well. So as we go up third level, it continues through, so everything stacks really nicely. Going back to that initial image that I showed you, just these are some closer in of the main entrance. So you've got that vestibule. I apologize, lighting so make out, but hopefully you have these images in your pack, and if you don't, definitely get it. And then I really wanted to highlight this photo. So I mentioned on the commons we did go with the two-story structure there, but we did go with that flat roof. If you look at the plane, we tried to keep the roof itself down. Those couple little components that are sticking up above that, those are more structures to help hide some of the mechanical equipment, things like that. So they're very limited, very isolated where they are on that site. So trying to keep the visibility down as much as possible. What we like about the way the building is you can see it kind of starts low and it does this nice kind of gradual ramping up. So the further we get away from the residential, the further we get away from the existing neighbors, we've tried to be very cognizant of what that view's going to look like. So tried to temper that as much as possible. This right here is that single-story memory care, and then this would be if you were standing at the corner of Washington and Parker, look back. So you have the three-story structure right here, and you'll get a little bit of the one-story memory care. So, and then these are just the renderings of the front of the building, and then this is the back right here. So, and then this is a section view of that rotunda / portico chair for the main entrance. And then a lot of these are pretty redundant. There's the parking garage right here, as I mentioned, the under building parking structure. And then this right here, this displays the stone that we've calculated, everything in pink. We are looking at 3 different finishes. So we've got the stacked stone, which is very indicative of prairie style architecture. But in addition to that, we're doing a fiber cement board, lap siding, and also some board and bat. We're looking at a couple different colors, so it really breaks up that building and adds a lot of depth and good character to it. So that's all I have. Unless there's any questions.
Can you just highlight the stone again, just pink, the pink highlights the stone areas?
Yeah,
and
so-
the calculations.
Correct. So per code, per zoning, we did put in all the stone required. If we didn't meet it, we exceed by a ways on some of those facades. So for instance, the parking garage, I believe we exceeded that quite a bit. The Commons building, we did as well. On the memory care, I believe we're right at it. And then in most cases on the apartment building, we're at it or slightly above it.
Pink's not the color of stuff, it's just,
Correct.
it's just to highlight the areas for you, calculation standpoint, so it'll blend it nicely, in kind of an earth tone type of stone color.
One quick question that I got a couple comments. When you guys are done, about how many residents with all the different phases? I don't
We're
remember.
approximately,
32,
Sorry.
132 residents,
130, okay.
so it's broken down about 30 or so.
about 32 independent living, 52 roughly assisted, and 42
With 44 beds.
with, well, I think there's 38 beds, 42.
Correct. That's what it was. So we do offer in memory care, we offer a couple doubles. Sometimes we get couples that'll come in together. And it's a way to keep.
You may have already said this, but in the independent living, not that I'm planning ahead or anything, but are those of different sizes?
Yes. So there's a couple studios in there. We don't do too many of those, but there are a couple studios in there. There's a lot of one bedrooms and they all have full kitchens.
Full kitchens, living rooms, some will be 2-bedroom with den, some
Or one
will
bedroom
be
with
standard
den.
2-bedroom, 1-bedroom with den. And I think 1-bedroom started about $850.
That might be the studio. I think the one bedroom started at 9 in our program.
I don't think we have any true studios. This just starts 1-bedroom plus, 2-bedroom plus.
And just because we get these questions, will people purchase these or
All rental.
all rental?
We've had about four calls, unsolicited calls to date, from people who want to put their name on a reservation list once we start that. And we haven't gotten to that point yet, but we have taken their name to pass those on to our operator once we get where we can take reservations. So I think 2 were for the independent living, 1 was for assisted, and the other one I think was looking for more of a 55 plus type townhome. But so I think they're going to be leaning more towards the apartment if they have interest.
It's interesting, Brian and I were talking, only twice in my career and ours have we ever had people call us before we even start advertising here in Naples, Florida. So it's pretty unique and pretty cool from our perspective that we have people calling us already.
It's been a long road to get here, as you know, so it's exciting to have some people calling and just expressing some interest. So it's been nice.
Well, I can understand why. I mean, not that picture because you can't see it, but the one, that's a sharp building. And I know that we're not supposed to judge on what ultimately comes into the building, but it is relevant. I know we had some neighbors concerned. And I can say with 100% sincerity, if I lived across from the street, I would not bat an eye about had Cliff not mowed so well for years, maybe it would be a different story. But this fits a need, and this has been just a great fit, I think, in the area. I hope the neighbors see that. But the other thing I want to mention, that your guys' approach to the process here has been so positive. And so appreciate how you guys have done this. And I've seen yet things that you didn't need to be. I've seen yet meetings that you didn't necessarily need to be. I know you talked to neighbors when you were incentivized to do so, right? But even doing that in a way that has made things so the vote is the vote, and you know, we had an earlier one that's tougher. This is an enthusiastic yes for me. I think this is, like I said, it aesthetically looks good. It arguably fits a need that we need. We heard from people that were almost forced to leave town because there wasn't a comparable type of place for them to go, and to have a quality one come like this is just great. So hurry up and build it. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you.
Sincerely.
It makes you feel better. We're having the same struggles you are, obviously, with the banking stuff. Unfortunately, our models have been pretty conservative, leading up to this, just knowing that the world changes. I mean, even when rates were 3%, running our models at 7%, and they're getting a little tighter on the top end of that than we'd like sometimes, but, I think we still have enough room. But from a material standpoint, things never go back down to where they used to be.
Yeah.
They usually go back down a fair percentage of that, but there's never the new low is always higher than it was before, so we have the same struggles you do, but fortunately, we've got enough conservatism in what we've done to be able to, make this work. So it's been good.
You're beginning construction.
We're still shooting for that June, July timeframe.
July, August, sorry.
July, August.
He's got to give me a time.
Sorry.
I got to raise some more cash.
I already wrote down June, July. So don't
Yeah,
disappoint.
we got some additional design work to do, and then it'll take some time. Usually about the time we're done with design, it'll take about 60 days to do the legal paperwork and stuff to get the banks to close and all that kind of stuff. So we're hoping that July, August time we'll be able to start get everything in process.
And there will be a sign going up there.
There will
on the
be.
corner.
Well, website, so we're going through naming exercises, so we'll actually put, a name to it. We want to involve, the lender to stay as well in some form or capacity, so.
We didn't want to be presumptuous about how things are going to end tonight, so we want to, as soon as we get through this, and our understanding is if we get through this tonight, that'll put us under contract. We still have to come in for a formal plat approval. We're working through a few legal corrections of some things for the transfer of the site, just to make sure that everything's tightened up on that. From there's some documentation that's there, but we want to make sure that it's not underlined and written. It's actually put in place. Everything's fine. It's going to take about 30 days to get that done. So we'll do the final plat on future council discussion.
We'll go through a branding exercise and stuff too, so we'll be able to put up a website, sign, stuff.
Give Cliff the opportunity to bid the mowing contract, so.
He was talking to me about that when you were hitting the gavel earlier.
So Councilman Dvorak has joined us
He did,
via
yes.
Zoom. I don't know if he had anything, questions or anything.
Dave, do you have any?
Thank you, apologies for being late.
Okay, then we will move ahead.
I
Oh, go ahead.
just want to say thank you for choosing Polk City. It's going to be very welcomed, I believe, and I think it's going to be a nice development. Thankfully, I'm not close yet to moving into one of those, but you never know.
Come
And
in, you may like it.
yeah,
That
Rob,
bar downstairs is pretty handy.
Rob, thank you for your comments. Those were well worded. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on. Well, thank you, Ross. You don't have to stand there for this part. We'll move on to A1 then, Resolution 2023-42, approving PUD master plan. I'll ask for a motion in a second.
Will you approve? Second.
Any further discussion?
I would like to say this is one of the few times where I think a PUD plan was actually done.
You do love your PUD.
Yes, I do.
So let's have roll call then.
Anderson,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Polk. Yes.
Now move on to A2 then, Resolution 2023-43, approving preliminary plat / site plan. Motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
And any comment? Roll call.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Moving on then to 7B, Kaler Golf. And I think we have a presentation from McClure.
Yes.
You'll want to state your name for the record,
Yep.
please.
Good evening, everyone. Trent Smith, McClure Engineering Company. Address is 405 Deer Haven Street, Polk City, Iowa. And tonight before you is a preliminary plat, site plan, and final plat for Kaler Golf Building. The reason that all three documents are before you tonight, it's just structured around the ownership Tournament Club of Iowa. So I'm here on behalf of Kaler Golf. Steven's here tonight to answer any questions as well. But Steven owns a percentage ownership in the Tournament Club of Iowa and owns and maintains other golf courses in the state of Iowa, so he's pretty integrated in the golf community. And this particular building will house kind of the niche golf course related equipment that it takes to operate and maintain golf courses. So just because that ownership structure between the Tournament Club of Iowa and this particular building, we're proposing to create its own lot. That just creates a clean division between those two ownerships. So our proposed building, like I said, will house and store golf course related equipment. Work with staff regarding the building's orientation, because it's 2 overhead doors, your typical storage building. More or less, we've worked with staff on its orientation and its aesthetics on the North 3rd Street corridor, added some additional landscaping building in the street, and it's going to utilize the existing access point on the north. We're going to access utilities on North 3rd Street, and our basin to the south was placed so to separate a little bit more to the residential neighborhood. To the south, just provide a little bit more buffer between this use and the residential use to the south. Other than that, it's a quick Spark Notes version. I can answer any questions.
It seems like quite a bit of the dirt work has already started, which typically doesn't happen before we get to this stage. We can talk about how that happened, or
Sure. We've worked with staff to secure a grading permit. You're right. Our client understands that the work done so far is at risk and pending the approval of the site plan tonight. I'm not sure where they are in the process. I think there's quite a bit of work left to be done, as they just started getting emails from the contractor on Friday regarding our plans.
Can I speak to that?
Sure.
Part of that too was the ratio storm cleanup, so there were some damaged trees in that area too. Get out as well, so yes, we're aware that some of this was at risk. We felt entitled to the community to try to clean that area up.
okay, that has becoming a more prominent road than now that it's ever been. So I appreciate you saying that, and would like that to continue as the construction goes.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was reading in the packet, is there a piece of this property that is a vacant lot that you're gonna try to sell, or did I read that wrong?
No, there's no intention to sell any vacant lot. The reason it's split up into 3 lots, so you have one lot to the north, the existing maintenance of the Tournament Club of Iowa, a proposed lot for this project, this site plan, and then an outlot, an undevelopable outlot, and that's where the creek is essentially. So it's just to create separation between buildable and developable lot.
Okay, so it's the outlot that I was reading about that. I just saw that and I had a question about it. Any additional questions? All right, thank you very much, Trent, and Steve too. We will move on then to Resolution 2023-44, approving the preliminary plat. A motion and a second, please.
Second.
Any additional comment? If none, we'll ask for roll call.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Item 2 then, Resolution 2023-45, approving the site plan. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Moving on to B3, Resolution 2023-46, approving the final plat. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
And any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the roll.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Vogel. Anderson.
Yep.
Walters.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Thank you. 7C, Resolution 2023-47, authorizing real estate purchase agreement in the amount of $105,000. Ask for a motion and a second.
Second?
Any comment? Hearing none, let's call a roll.
Vogel?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
DeVorak?
Yes.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Item D, Snyder and Associates January 2023 Engineering Services invoice in the amount of $21,603.25. A motion and a second, please.
Second?
Roll call?
Anderson?
Yes.
Walters?
Same.
DeVorak?
Yes.
Sarchet?
Yes.
And item E, third reading of ordinance 2023-4000, approving rezoning of property owned by the city of Polk City located at 214 South 3rd Street and 302 West Van Dorn Street from C1 Central Business District to U1 Utility District. I'll ask for a motion and a second, please.
Second.
Any comment?
You didn't get anything more on this?
I did not.
Ask for roll call then.
Anderson?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
DeVorak?
Yes.
Sarchet?
Yes.
All right, then we'll move on to item 8, reports and particulars. We will begin with staff. Anything from staff? Okay, Chelsea?
I did want to bring up the Citizens Academy, and just give you all an update. Since we began advertising for the Citizens Academy, we've received one application. And I really do not want to do this, but I do feel like we need at least a group of 8 to 10 people to make that a successful program. So it'd be my recommendation that we don't have the Citizens Academy. I don't know if we could try to re-engage people again in the fall. We did have a very successful class in the fall of 2021, if you all can remember. We had 15 participants, very engaged community members. I think that the staff is willing to continue the program. We're not getting applications like we were hoping that we would.
I wonder, because I know there's people out there that are interested, that sometimes have conflicts. Have we thought about, or John haven't paid attention, but, some sort of survey, of if people would be interested? Is there a night of the week that's better, a time of year that's better? I know there's always stuff going on right now, but right now, we're kicking into spring sports activities, and it seems extra busy maybe, but yeah, I think there's interest in the community. But yeah, it's disappointing to see it not go, but yeah, if that's the case, then I don't know if there's anything we can do to kind of.
Or two, rather than, how many sessions do we typically have?
4.
Yeah, could you sign up for individual sessions rather than committing to 4 consecutive, but a series of 4 meetings? I don't know.
Yeah, because I see
think
huge
you're right.
value in it. You guys have put in the work, you kind of did it once, and now it's great to do it again, but it also educates people on what you do. I think there's incredible value, so if there's ways we can look at it a little differently to try to find ways to do that.
It would be nice to know too, if people wanted to sign up for a few meetings, but they don't want to sit through Mike's session, and they can go to the other one.
That'd be one of the more interesting ones, because I think he lets them drive a snow.
Okay, yeah. I signed up for that.
But you have to come in the middle of the night.
Even better. I'll do year long.
We'll see if we can get some feedback.
And I know it's
that's
tough to
valid.
find a night because, there's meeting nights, and then, and it's you guys' time and what works consistently for staff, but yeah, like I said,
I think it's a good idea to try to get it fall. Trying to get interested people fall.
Thank you.
Anything further from council?
Yes,
Go for it.
something I'd like to see the council get together and talk about is, building of pole barns in and around residential areas. There gets to be more and more of. A couple more built last week, and I'd like to get together and talk about that in a work session or on the agenda or however staff chooses. If anybody else is interested. Nobody else is interested, I'm happy.
Could you give us, Ron, is it Morton Buildings in particular, or is it the vertical steel siding,
Well, I think
or?
it's all of the above. I don't think they need code for it. But that's just my opinion. The height requirement, siding requirement, I know it is for commercial, I don't, if that is code in residential, I'd like to change the code.
Discussion.
Building
permits being pulled for these?
Yes, and they meet our current code. So the current height for accessory structures in a residential area is 16 feet in average height. So there's a formula that goes on the size and all that, right? And then vertical
There's a
siding,
max height too.
that is the max height.
Oh.
It cannot exceed 16 feet in average height. And the vertical siding is referenced specifically for everything except for residential.
Okay, so there's interest. We will try to find if we can get some other sample ordinances from other communities and see if we could put something on a future agenda. Be happy to do that.
Anything, Dave?
Anything to add, Dave?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
There was a couple consent agenda items I wanted to highlight. The run on the 22nd, we'll have a couple meetings for that, but good to see that fun part, celebrating Earth Day with a run. Getting that date right, lost.
This
April 22nd.
April 22nd, yeah, okay. And then congratulations to Bryce on maintenance lieutenant. Both things do very well.
All right, I just have one thing. This week is Severe Weather Awareness Week in Iowa. The statewide tornado drill will occur this Wednesday, 3/29 at 10 a.m. So, 3 simple steps to prepare for severe weather: stay informed, have a plan, put together a kit. So, that's what you get from me. And let's go on then and have a motion to adjourn. And a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. We are adjourned until April 10th. Thank you, everybody.